All right, here we go. So we are recording right now. Just finished up doing a small consultation with Eric Werlin on the line. You want to say something to the people real quick, King?
How's everyone doing? Whatever Lionheart says, take it to heart because this guy knows his stuff like the back of his hand.
Thank you, King. I really, I really appreciate that as I edit out these errors on this podcast. So real quick,
I didn't say you were perfect. I just said you knew
all
what
right.
you were talking about and doing.
Right, definitely. Definitely. I appreciate that, King. And it's been a pleasure working with you, seeing your brand grow. Definitely shout out to Eric Werlin Productions and soon to be, I don't want to call the name out too early, but just know he has a lot of great stuff. He is currently our video editor for Lionheart Motivation Factory, but he also owns and runs and operates his own production company. So on top of that, he is being more than an angel sent, heaven sent, whatever you want to call it, to LMF, and we've been putting together some nice projects for some clients. And right now, we want to find a way to provide the most value to the entrepreneurs out there, the speakers, the life coaches, the authors, people who are in the self-development industry, so that they can get value. And on top of that, people who, by any means, just need more guidance on entrepreneurship in their life. You know, that's the main reason why I started Lionheart Motivation Factory. And at the end of it, that's going to be part of our mission statement, is just to make sure that we're impacting and helping the communities out there. So with that being said, we're going to jump into a conversation about Lionheart Motivation Factory show podcast. And real quick, this is just a think tank, group think meeting. Just for anybody who's watching this, I'm going to post this on like IG, YouTube, Facebook, all that good stuff. Just to give you guys some background on what the show is going to be about, so that you guys know where and when you can tap into it. And hopefully we can get this bad boy up and running soon, within like the next month or two, so that you guys can have some valuable knowledge, gems, diamonds, however you want to cut it up, to grow your businesses and grow your life. All right, really enhance, become that 1% that I'm always talking about. So with that being said, King, LMF podcast, here we go. I'm basically, can you see my screen right now?
Yes, I can.
So still working on some things with the podcast synopsis. So when I tell you, everyone who's watching this is literally the breakdown of what's going into an actual podcast. If anybody has any questions on how to start a podcast, the first part is actually talking about it and, you know, seeing what you want to do, seeing what value you want to provide, seeing what needs you can fill in your community. All right. So the way that we were talking about it before, King, I know I wanted to break it down so that there were many different aspects, because I believe in mind, body, spirit. And I believe there's not going to be any other podcast out here like this that is so diverse and has so many different various topics and concepts to provide to the people. And it's going to be cut up in different segments. So everybody can, you know, love their favorite segment. One segment might not be for you, but I feel like all these segments is for someone. So here we go. So basically a brief outline. We have the Lionheart LaQuinn 5-minute segment where quote of the day, whatever that quote is, powerful quote, speak on or about it just briefly, special guests, and then inspiring content, and bam, 5-minute segment of Lionheart LaQuinn, me doing my thing. Then we go into the business aspect of things for all my entrepreneurs out there who have a business, who have had a business for over 5 years, or if you're just starting, I offer a lot of different valuable, tangible tools for you to actually grow your business for free. So definitely tap in with that. So that's Lionheart Consulting, 20-minute segment. We're going to have a business concept of the day, an expert guest, and I have a lot of different friends that I would love to bring on that I know for a fact can really, really provide value, and not just because they're high net worth people, but mainly because they care about you and they want to see you win from A to Z, you know, because everybody thinks about the A to C. And then going from that to Road to 850 movement, basically the whole Road to 850 movement, financial consultations, financial advice, credit tips, investing, real estate. Everybody knows I'm about to get into real estate. I'm actually looking to get a quadplex in Ohio soon. So I want to take you guys through that process. And then Boxing on the Beach. For anybody who has tapped in with that platform at Boxing on the Beach on IG, you can Google it, all that good stuff. But mindful meditation, workout of the day, fitness and health concept, and then fitness coach interview with one of the fitness coaches that I know that I've come across, or somebody who is physically inclined and is training or teaching or coaching or helping another individual help their body, the body part of the mind, body, spirit, right? So yeah, King. As of right now, we've talked about what so far that you can remember. I'm gonna pull up something real quick.
Sure. No, I think those segments are going to be really great, and I'm actually really excited to be, to get things going when we can, in the next, like you said, in the next couple of weeks, maybe a month or so. Uh, I think it's going to be really valuable information to have the different segments and have various experts in, coming in and talking, giving their 2 cents. You've already got me pumped and excited to hear what some of these people have to say, because I know for myself, we've already spoken before. Like I know what I'm doing in my field, but there's as we said already, I've in previous meetings, there's always something to learn. I don't care who you are. There's always something more you can learn, a different angle you can approach something at, a different mindset. It's always great, which is one of the reasons I love collaboration and working with a team. And
Right.
I'm really excited to get the information, and I think that the business tips are going to be great, and I'm excited. I'm just excited for it. Sorry if that answered the question, or if maybe if I just rambled for 3 minutes.
No, no, it answered the question. I mean, I feel like the whole team is ready to kind of start producing. Um, we're still a little rough around the edges, working together as a team. But for the most part, I just wanted everybody to kind of see the background, like the build up, the part that most people don't show because they think they're not polished enough, or they feel like they don't have enough value to provide. And I feel like it's completely the opposite. If you are building something and you come up with a challenge, or you find an obstacle that you're running up against, I feel like if you talk about that on camera, that's the best way to provide value to someone else, because I'm sure that they've had the similar issue or something that has hindered them that you have dealt with. Yeah, and so having that testimonial kind of give back, I feel like that's powerful beyond measure.
Oh, absolutely. As an
Yeah,
entrepreneur, and starting a business, that's one of the great things that kind of unites everyone in that aspect. It doesn't matter what industry. It doesn't matter if you're cars, if you're health and wellness, if you're motivation, if you're video, photography, car sale, whatever. The principles of
hmm,
running a business overall, usually are the same. The backbone, everything that the pillars that hold everything up. So, someone who's 1 month in, 1 year in, 5 years in, 10
right,
years in, they all at some point faced or will face a similar difficulty
right,
in or a similar challenge. So getting to hear different people and you know, how they overcame that challenge, I think is going to be invaluable information and wisdom to hear, especially from seasoned vets. Like I'd love to
right.
hear from people who have been in business for 5, 10, 20 years. And I'm like, yeah, like, in my business, I'm currently facing X, Y, and Z. And they're like, oh, I remember facing those. Here's how I tackled it. And maybe
Right,
going like, wow, I never thought about it that way. That, you just
right,
changed my life.
right. Big facts. And I'll say it like this: I'm always looking to provide value, because if you can, you can. You know, like if you can, you should almost. There's so many people that you can lay out the pavement for. There's so much content out there. Some of it's trash, some of it's good. But if you can just find those one or two things that are continuously helping someone else, I feel like, hey, that's part of my purpose, man. I wanted to get into this checklist a little deeper with you today. Just kind of going over some of the items on here. This is literally a very extensive, intuitive checklist that you guys can use. And anybody who is looking to start a podcast, reach out to me, DM me, email me, and I will give you this checklist. It actually, there's a lot of documents on literally how to start your podcast from the very beginning. So if you guys are interested in this podcast launch checklist, tap in with me. I don't mind shooting it to you, emailing it to you. Just reach out to me. But yeah, I think the first one on there is pretty interesting. If you are starting a podcast, I say just do it. Stop thinking about it. Stop worrying about it. Stop thinking about who's not going to listen. Think about all the people that are going to listen. Think about the benefits for your business that you're going to have once you have a podcast set up and you're continuously bringing in other experts. Think about the future growth of what you're currently doing, or future growth for yourself, whether you're using it as a vending podcast, whatever it is. Just make sure you get your message out there. Make sure you stay intentional. That's really the big key word. But yeah, define your most profitable buyer is the first one, and I think that's really interesting because you always want to make sure your why is solid, because there's going to be times where I believe the stat that I heard that most people who start podcasts, they don't make it past 10 episodes. So just make sure you're in it for the long haul. Make sure what you're doing is why foundation is solid. Your why foundation needs to be solid, because when things get tough, or if you don't feel like recording an episode, or you haven't put in the right amount of work, it's going to hinder you. So I want you guys to please take that into heed. If you have a message, get it out there. Just do it. Sheryl Sandberg, Facebook CMO, she says, done is better than perfect. And and that's where I go with it, because a lot of times we focus on the things that don't necessarily matter. 90% of things in our minds don't necessarily matter with the actual execution and the results that we're looking for. So I always think that's quite interesting. But they say define your most profitable buyer. I wanted to talk about that. I wanted to talk about, let's see, let's go over choose storage and determine workflow. I think that's a good one to talk about. And then we can kind of stop there, because I actually do have a call in about 10 minutes that I need to hop on. So I kind of just wanted we can go there. But this is a weekly meeting that we have to basically kind of go over more traction. And of course, we talk in between there. But to go over more traction, I just want to give you guys the breaking roots of how we are starting this podcast. Anybody who goes back and watches this video after we hit like the 100th episode, whatever it is, there's that unpolished that makes this so much better, so that unpolished grit to it. So define your most profitable buyer. And what they mean by that, you have to obviously be selling something if you're looking for a buyer. So just make sure you have your products and services in place before you start your podcast, so you know what you're promoting. The last thing you want to do is tie everything that you're doing around the execution of your podcast. Because what if the waves get shut down and they, Anchor goes out of business, Apple switches up their program. So you want to make sure your products and services are in place already before you start your podcast if you're going to promote a product, service, or event. All right? So keep that in mind. For us, King, well, let me ask you this. Who do you think are, from knowing what you know about me and Lionheart Motivation Factory, who do you think the most I'm sorry about that. Got that phone call calling me a little early. But yeah.
All good. I was gonna say, I didn't hear the question. Didn't finish.
Okay, all good. Oh, okay, all good. I said, so the first part of the checklist is define your most profitable buyer, right? Out of what you know about us, Lionheart Motivation Factory, me, the segments that we kind of just went over, who do you think our most profitable buyer would be?
Ooh, asking the tough questions right off the bat.
All right.
I mean, knowing what I know, which with Lionheart
about video,
Factory,
right,
and the team,
as it pertains to video expertise, I guess. So,
yeah,
you know what I mean? Yeah.
I mean, if you're asking, as it pertains to like, what I know and my experiences so far, I'd say it's someone who's they've got a company already, they're already established, they've been around for a little while, whether it's a year or 5 years or whatnot, and they've just really been struggling to get their message out there and really get compete against whoever their competition is, and separate themselves from their competition and show like, hey, this is why why you should choose me, why and show how help them show that they go above and beyond and that they really care about their clients, and they're not necessarily marketing themselves either in the best way or not the most efficient way.
I got you. And so it's really interesting because from a video aspect, having those different marketing videos out there in drawing people in, that almost has to be the forefront, at least the way that we do business. We're a different kind of beast. We want to make sure that we're drawing people in that with showing that we care and we have that value to provide to them, versus, hey, we got this product, we got this item, we're just trying to sell you something. We want to show you guys that we're providing value. So can you give a quick tip on how, okay, let me go ahead and define the most profitable buyer for LMF Podcast, right? So I would have to say, I would have to say basically, if I'm defining my profitable buyer, I'm going to say, hey, it's somebody who has free time, obviously, somebody who is not currently working a long-term job that has 80 plus hours a week, somebody who has time to listen to a podcast, obviously, right? On top of that, I want to make sure that their income is over a certain level. There's certain ways that you can do that through Facebook ad marketing. So that you're not just getting anybody to listen to your podcast. You want to aim it. I'm going to be aiming it towards business owners, right? Speakers, authors, life coaches. Those are going to be the most profitable buyers for any product or service that I offer on the LMF podcast. Those are also going to be the people most inclined because they relate to my messages that I send. So that's where I'm looking at it. So from a video department, what kind of video would you make to, I guess, entice those type of industry professionals to kind of buy into LMF podcasts?
Well, first of all, the biggest question that someone, from a video standpoint, the biggest question that I would ask that they need to ask themselves are, and it seems like a basic question, but a lot of people don't even think about it, is, are you using video? And if you aren't, why aren't you using video?
Right.
And I ask people that all the time, like, hey, I went to your website, your business, you don't have any videos, why aren't you using videos at all? And a lot of times people just go, I never really thought about it. That's what they are. And people don't realize, how powerful videos are. To throw out a fun statistic, and I may not have this number exact, but it's in the ballpark, that overall, when it comes to buying a product or a service, consumers on average, if I remember right, this is according to Forbes, don't quote me on that, but it's like Business Insider or Forbes or one of those, websites. They say that on average, consumers are around 75% more likely to buy a product or a service if there was a video showcasing it.
All right. Definitely. And I talk quite often about video scripts. This is one of those things that I introduce to my clients and it blows their mind. And I just, like you said, it seems so simple because when people see your face, they see your emotion, they see you're an actual person. Just the fact that you're a person, your stock goes up in their mind so far as trust. And that's really what you want to gain whenever you're looking for someone to buy into whatever you're doing. You want to gain their trust. Because if they can't trust you, why would they listen to you? Why would they give you a minute of their day? So like you said, with the marketing videos, you hit the nail on the head, man. The other thing before we get offline, I wanted to talk about, what was the other one? The workflow. Choose storage and determine your workflow. I think those are going to be the most important ones. Right now, I am downloading things between Google Drive, and then I'm using my laptop to download these, like this blog right now. So this one is going to be pretty simple because you just want to make sure that you keep everything organized. And when I say organized, I mean, hey, season 1, episode 1, season 2, episode 2. You want to make sure that you're outlining every single thing so that when you already record and you already have that video done, you know exactly where it's going. You're like, oh man, where do I put this? So you want to have that set up in place, and you want to have it structured so that you can go back and research and chop up film. And however, if you're doing a vlog, you want to make sure you have that editing material at hand, and you don't have to search. You don't want to have a headache looking for your videos. So far as workflow, when I think about workflow, it's from, hey, they heard the ad, or they heard the first, or they read the first copy of the podcast, and now they're interested. Where do they go from there? So from there all the way to, hey, they listened to the first podcast, and now we're following up with them a week later, all the way from the beginning to the end. That system needs to be set up in place so that you're going to gain traction from every episode that you have because you have a system in place. You can do that with landing pages. You can do that with email campaigns. You can do that with text marketing. There's so many different tools that you can use to engage and get people to take hold of your podcast, make sure that they're going to be on that next podcast episode. So I'm going to walk you guys through that as well through this whole process. So bear with us. We're getting that together. I do have to get offline now, King. But what's name? I appreciate you. Yeah, you have. I'm definitely gonna give you the floor back, man. You got anything else you want to say to the people?
Yeah, last 30 seconds, just a little tidbit to add on to the organization thing. I would actually take that a step further, and I even do, in not only creating folders with names and everything, but if you're on a Mac, it's built in. If it's not Windows, like I use, there's programs, free programs you can install. I color coordinate things too.
Right, exactly. And I do that with my calendar. Got to coordinate because sometimes you see the same color and you'll just keep scrolling like it's another one. But if you that one important one pops up in red, that's a major one. It's those small little attention to details that really make the biggest difference when you're operating. The smoother you can make your business on a daily basis, the more effective you become. So definitely keep that in mind. That's a great one, King. But yeah, outside of that, Queens and Kings, I appreciate you guys' time. This, like I said, will probably be on YouTube, Facebook, Instagram, the whole nine. If you guys are interested in more about what Lionheart Motivation Factory show podcast has to offer, or just the company in general, you guys can go to our website, lionheartmotivationfactory.com. You can call our office if you have any questions, or if you have a question that you want to be on the show. It's 855-563-4763. You can leave a voicemail there with your question, and we will answer it live for you. And yeah, we'll get back to you. I just want to make sure that we're engaging with everyone and that we're answering questions that are actually helping people. So feel free to reach out. Thank you so much, Queens and Kings. It's Lionheart LaQuinn, your favorite boxer. Teach you to grind with all your heart, think with all your mind, body, spirit. We got to practice it more than we hear it, Queens and Kings. Y'all continue to grind. Talk to you later, Eric.
See ya.
Grind.